What is going on today, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Today we've got balance with OB20. X-Ball was in the last patch, and now we have the upcoming patch. OB20 is Osiris. I just scavenged for it because I forgot who it was. It is Osiris. So along with this item and God Balance, Osiris is also going to be added into the game. And I think his aspect is also ready, which will be shipped on Friday. But this patch is coming out Tuesday. And looking at it, item balance, Rip Talon nerf. Currently, there's just a lot of damage on just like your auto attacks in the game with Rip Talon, with crit, with like Hydras and stuff like that. Let's just bring that down a little bit. I would expect them to kind of go back and cover a lot of this and do a little bit more to alleviate this stacking percent increase on your autos. But for now, Rip Talon's just getting a slight nerf. Vital Amplifier, I'd never even see this item built, and then they're nerfing it. I think it's like a soul build that's really making this overpowered, but it kind of doesn't really seem good ever. Sanguine Lash, this I'm pretty sure kills Sanguine Lash, because a lot of the value you get from the item is, it like doubles down on itself. Like you build more lifesteal, your Sanguine Lash is doing more, it's also lifestealing then more. And now you're not getting any of that lifesteal from the actual passive or active. I could see this making this item a lot worse. And with how kind of weak tanks feel, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of hybrid solo laners going forward. Or even like full damage ones. God Balance, Ares is getting a nerf. His ultimate no longer cripples. This was made when CC, whatever the thing is where you could use your escape or your jump, buffering, CC buffering was added into the game. This was added because Ares is counterable with a lot of that stuff. It is now no longer in the game because CC buffering is no longer in the game. Fenrir with Aspect and without with Aspect was absolutely broken, dominant, so they nerfed that. The lifesteal on his 2, which is a lot of the value from him. And then they're also nerfing base Fenrir the same way, which they probably could have kept that because I don't really see Fenrir at all. Maybe it's just for keeping them even, but I think they could have kept this at 12% for base Fenrir because I think he's a little underwhelming. Hades fix is a good fix. Fixing and reducing FPS issues is good. Huyi nerf, Dive Bomb, 8.8 down to 7.2 for the range. That is quite a bit, but this still provides a lot of safety, and I think Huyi's got still a ton of other strength in his kit with his ultimate and his 1, so just slightly less range on the 3, but it's not going to be doing much. I still think it's going to be one of the best gods in the game. Loki is getting a new aspect, which is going to be a lot of fun to play around with. I can't wait to try it out. No longer is aspect of concealment in the game, it's aspect of agony. And Vanish no longer grants stealth at all. Its attack now inflicts a blind instead of a bleed. Agonizing Visions can be cast on allies, providing damage mitigation while slowing enemies. And behind you now deals bonus damage, scaling with your health and protections rather than its percentage increase. I wonder if you can place your 2 on yourself. I actually didn't even think about that until like right now, which kind of sounds pretty OP. So I'd be interested to see how that plays. Loki will still have the issue of he doesn't have invis, so he doesn't have a way to get into the fight except with ulting. So I don't know how OP this is going to be. And it's also going to be, he's going to be a really weak laner with this anyway. We'll see though. This is cool. This is a cool aspect for Loki, I think. I complained about this when I saw this last time, and now they're reverting it. This is one of the worst things that you can do for Jingwei because it just makes her unpunishable. She used to have an issue where minions would walk through the 1 and she would just one-shot them and she could just stay under a tower and you could like never dive her because she's Jingwei. Yeah, she's gonna be doing that again. So I would not be surprised if Jingwei is like the best ADC in the game, especially with how strong like Crit is and Lernaean is and Rip Talon was. Jingwei was just super broken, and I think she's gonna be really broken again. New buff. While stealth, allies now pass through other characters. W. It's a good change. A nice little Princess Bari buff. Her 1 is now a 13-second cooldown at all ranks instead of 15, scaling down to 13. It's also doing 5 more damage early game and 25 more damage late game. I don't think Bari is that far away from being viable. I think she's just a little underwhelming, especially because she doesn't really build crit. But if crit wasn't in the meta, I think Bari would be pretty good as like an ability-based hunter like Uller. The issue is she just can't build crit, and crit is just the build path right now. Massive, massive Sun Wukong nerf, both to tank Wukong, physical Wukong, magical Wukong, support Wukong, mid Wukong. It's a massive nerf to him all around because this is kind of a core thing to Wukong, making it so he's really tanky if you get him low, and he does a lot more damage when he gets low. It's kind of an annoying passive to have when you're playing against him because you could be beating down on him and then he gets low and then he spawns out his decoy and then he's also tankier, and the decoy is doing damage to you and he's doing more damage to you. It was really frustrating. I think this is just a good nerf to bring him a little bit more in line and make him a little bit more punishable. Thanatos fix. No longer will he get bugged out passive cooldown reduction from Jotuns and his passive, which is actually a really big change. Tsukiyomi nerf. Dark Shuriken is getting 10%, just 10 flat at all ranks, not 10%. But it also is losing 10% strength and int. So a pretty big nerf to Dark Moon Shuriken Suki's 1. And then his ultimate is also going from 90 seconds up to 100 seconds cooldown. The Morgan buff, Deadly Aspects, no longer resets Morgan's attack chain. Pretty nice change. And then while stealth, Morgan will not pass their other characters. W. And one of the bigger nerfs of the patch, X-Ball, both his auto attack and his aspect magical damage build, both getting nerfed. His 2, losing 5% int and also 5% int tick. And then also losing 5% on the strength per tick. Darkest of Nights is losing a little bit of attack speed at the top end, none at the bottom end. And Aspect of the Night Stalker, his aspect. The Darkest of Nights, the ability damage buff is getting reduced from 10 to 30, is now 10 to 22. So pretty wide nerfs to X-Ball, but it's mostly hitting that AP one-shot X-Ball aspect build. I don't think auto attack X-Ball is that strong. I actually think he's pretty balanced and pretty in line with other characters. His aspect was uber broken. And then with these changes, there's also 3 other changes that Clumsy added in the middle of patch notes. W Clumsies for adding these in, because I think these are the 3 biggest issues with the current balance of the game. Lernaean Bow is now losing 10% damage off the passive. So instead of being 50%, 50%, 50%, it's now 40, 40, 40. So a 30% nerf to that damage. And it's also getting a 10% cooldown. Pendulum is now 250 gold more expensive. It's a really just good assassin item to get your abilities up and then use your abilities and instantly get them back up again. It was a really frustrating thing to play against if you didn't also have just low cooldowns. And then lastly, Polynomicon. The passive is now from 65% to 60%, and it's 150 gold more. And I think these 3 changes are massive because I don't think tanks are in a bad spot necessarily, but I do think these 3 damage items added too much lethality into the game, even in the middle portion. If you played against a Lernaean Hunter, you could just get one shot in the early to mid portions of the game. If you played against a Pendulum character, they'd have 6 abilities that they could use in the course of like 5 seconds. If you played against a Polynomicon Merlin, Polynomicon Scylla, gods that just had low cooldowns, Polynomicon Agni, you would just get out-traded pretty easily. I think it still doesn't make a ton of sense to me how this was sitting at 65%. Even at 60%, I still think Poly's going to be broken. Out of these 3, I think Poly got hit the least. This is just an extra 240% after 4 abilities. That's crazy. Merlin's got 6 abilities. This is 360% extra damage just off of autoing in between your abilities. Like, yeah, you have to auto in between your abilities so your damage is coming out a tiny bit slower. But for 60%, that's extra scaling of an almost entire ability. If you look at Sobek's kit, Sobek, none of his abilities scale at 60%. So it's just crazy how this item existed. No wonder that it's starting to get abused a lot. I think these are really, really good nerfs. And it should bring the game, I think, a lot more in line with the concepts that make sense, where tanks are good early. They do get outscaled. This is, I think, going to put it on a correct path. But that is the patch notes, and this is coming with Osiris on Tuesday. But let me know what you guys think about the patch. Anything that you wish was added, changed, nerfed, buffed, let me know down below. I'm curious what you guys do think. But I'll see you guys again next time. Peace.